Welcome to my presentation on the two new systems and their requirements for Danrich Car Care. So the situation is that Danrich Car Care is seeing an influx of customers and is thus getting an overload of repairs and jobs at one time. Now all the technicians are knowledgeable in all areas and have a specific job or repair that they specialize in, but the jobs are still on top of each other. Because the technicians, they're just grabbing at the first job that they see, and this job might not be the first priority, and this job could have just come in when there's another job that's already been sitting there for hours, untouched. So it's just creating chaos, stress, and confusion. So there's two parts for the solution. First is to create a daily and weekly calendar for each technician according to the class or level of repair needed. The calendar will not be your typical calendar. It will have a column for each day. It'll have a column then for the technicians' names and a column for the time of day. And the information that will be put into the center of this calendar is what job repair is being worked on during that time on that day by that technician. And the other solution is to create a function on the website that allows customers to send a message when they need an oil change or something needs to be checked out on their car. This function will be a tab at the top of the website, and when they click on it, will bring them to an appointment form. This form will require their name, their phone number, the make, model, and year of their car, what is going on with the car, and what days and times work for them. Once the form has been submitted, an alert will occur on the business owner's computer, letting them know a form has arrived. The business owner will then contact the customer and set up the appointment. So the benefits, starting with the calendar, is that the jobs and repairs, they get organized. The technicians will have a clear set plan or schedule to follow, and the jobs will be done in a timely fashion. And then everything in general will just run a lot smoother. And then for the appointment form, the benefits are that it's going to help to coordinate with the customers better, set up appointments a lot easier, and will help to know when customers need oil changes and things like that. So the steps to completion. I figure it'll be an 89-day process. It'll be two phases. The first one involves the calendar. The second will be the appointment form. And in the first phase, we're going to start with the strategic planning meeting, and at the end of that meeting will be where we assign the tasks. We want to do that on February 25th, and in that meeting we won't only discuss the calendar, we will also discuss the appointment form as well. And then once that meeting is done and the assigned tasks are assigned, we will do 60 days starting on March 1st. We want to end that on May 1st of timing the technicians and how long it takes them to do different jobs and repairs. And then come May 1st, we want to take a couple days then to analyze that data. So we can say, okay, this technician is working on this job, they started it at 1. And the next job they need to do is this one. This particular job, from what we've studied, it takes them about 2 hours to do. So we'll place this new job in the 3 to 3:30 slot. And that's what we're looking at when we analyze the data. So then come May 3rd, we should be ready to research the softwares for the calendars. That should be a one-day process to look at the different ones and pick the best one. Then we should take about 2 days to create the calendar once we've picked that software, to get it up to what the business owner is looking for and get the proper information in there. And then we'll have about a 20-day period of evaluating the calendar. The calendar will be up and running, and we'll start that on May 12th once it's effectively up and running, and we will do the evaluation. Do the technicians like it? Is the business owner liking it? Is it working out well? Is it keeping things more organized? Is it getting updated like it's supposed to? All of that stuff. And we hope to have that all figured out, worked out by May 31st. So then we can start phase 2 on June 1st. Get right into it. That's going to be a 16-day phase. First, you're going to start with creating the online form. That should take about 3 days to get all the information in that the business owner wants and the look that he's looking for. Then we're going to create that tab for it on the website. That's a one-day job along with setting up the alert feature. Then comes the testing. You want to test the form and the alert. You want to take about a week. You want to get different people to go on and submit forms to make sure that the forms are arriving where they belong, and then making sure the alert is sounding. We'll even have some people skip a box or two and try to click submit to make sure that the error box will pop up saying, hey, you didn't fill out all the boxes, because all boxes are important in order to set up a proper appointment. And once we've done the testing phase, we'll take a couple of days to fix any bugs that might be in there. And we want to make this thing live on June 16th. We want to have the form and alert ready to go live. So come summer, we have the calendar and the appointment form done live, and everything is working out. Here's a Gantt chart with all that information we just discussed for you to take a look at. We got the tasks on the left, the blue lines for the start date, and the red lines for projected end dates. Okay, so now we have the entities that go with this project, and that's your customer, the work order, the technician, your business owner, and the invoice. So here we have this chart. So the customer gets the appointment set up by the business owner. Okay, the business owner will call up the customer and say, hey, why don't we do the meeting at this time? When the customer comes, they will meet with the technician who will come out with a work order and get the customer's name and contact info and the car and everything that's going on with the car. Have that form filled out. And then the technician at the end of the job will have the invoice to give to the customer. And then their copy of it. They get a copy of it, which is essentially a receipt that lists everything, all the costs, the parts that are bought, the labor, all of that stuff. And that goes to the customer. The technician creates both the work order and the invoice, and they, of course, are employed by the business owner who has final approval over the work order and the invoice. Here's just another version of that chart to give you a little bit of an idea, a little more breakdown of the work orders, the customer's information, the appointment date and time, the car problem and such. The invoice, as I mentioned, is the customer information, the technician's name that worked on it, the type of car, the work order number, parts used and their cost, and the labor. So now we have our CRUD chart, which stands for create, read, update, and delete. The customer, their only responsibility with the invoice is that they read it. They get their copy of it and they're able to look at it and read it. They can't do anything else with it. In the work order, their only function is they have a hand in creating it because they are providing the information. They have nothing at all to do with the calendar. Then customer records, if they're a previous customer, there's going to be a file with them already, and they have the ability to update that file. Update it with a new card. If they have a new phone number, if they've moved, they can update that information. The technician, they create, read, update, and delete both the invoice and the work order. And then they can read and update the calendar. They don't create the calendar, but they can read what's up there. They have to know what their job is. They can update it and delete by deleting out a job that they've completed. And the customer records, they can read them and they can update. If a customer says, here's my new phone number, they can go and update that in their file. The business owner can read, update, and delete both invoice and work order. The technician is the one that creates them. The business order gives a final approval, and they can ultimately say, no, you can delete it out. And the business owner, of course, creates, reads, updates, and deletes both the calendar and the customer records. They create the calendar, they put in what technician's working on what, they can update it constantly throughout the day. They're updating it, adding the new jobs. And with the customer records, they're creating that file. They can read it whenever they want because they are the business owner. They can update it and they can delete that customer out if that's something they need to do. So we have our use cases to help sort of break things down a little bit more. Got your first one, use case number 1, which centers around the calendar. Business owner enters the job into the calendar. Your primary is the business owner and the stakeholder is the technician. So the course of events is that the job is assigned to a technician. The business owner will open up the calendar and enter the job into the next available time slot. The business rule is if there's no time available today, the job gets moved to the next day. The constraint is that the computer and software have to be working in order for this to be done. And the assumption is that the job will fit in somewhere, that there will be a time slot for it today or tomorrow somewhere. The open issue is what if it'll be a few days before a job can be seen. So there's going to be ramifications. How is the customer going to feel about that sort of thing. The next use case, 2A, brings us to the appointment form side of things. This is where the customer is going to access the website to get the appointment form. The primary is the customer, the stakeholders are the business owner, and the form creator. The events is the customer will go to the website and they will click on the appointments tab. The alternate course, the other option the customer has, is they can simply call the business and set up an appointment over the phone. The constraint is that in order to access the website, the customers have to have a device with a valid internet connection. And that's the assumption, is that all customers will have a valid internet connection. The next one, case number 2B, is the customer fills in the form. Again, the primary is the customer and the stakeholders are the business owner and form creator. This is where the customer will enter in their name, the make, model, year of the car, the problem with the car, their phone number, and the days and times that work for them. And again, same alternate course, they can always call and provide this information to the business over the phone if they'd rather. The number one business rule is the customer's information is kept private and protected. Will never go to any second parties. The constraint, as before, is they have to have a device with internet connection, and this time they have to have a keyboard. The assumption is that they will have these things. And the open issue is, when they're filling out the form, will the box allow them to type in, or will there be an issue there? The next one is 2C. It's where the customer submits the form. And again, you have your primary as the customer, and the stakeholders are the business owner and form creator. So essentially what's going to happen here is the customer will finish filling in the form and they will hit submit. The alternate course, of course, they can again call the business and get this information over the phone, which they can also do if they go to click submit and they do have all boxes filled in and the submit button is not working. Then of course call and let the business know. The number one business rule is that the form cannot be submitted until all fields are filled out. Each field is very important in order to set up a proper appointment. And if it's not, then the box will pop up saying you have missing information. So the constraint is that the customer again has to have that computer and device with an internet connection, and that is of course the assumption. The open issue will be, will that submit button work? Will it work? If everything's filled out and they hit submit, will it send like it's supposed to? And then if the submit button does work, will the form get to where it belongs? Okay, and the final use case is 2D, where the form is received. The primary is the business owner, and the participating actor is the form creator, and the stakeholders is the customers. So here what's going to happen is the form will arrive in the inbox on the business owner's computer, and the alert will sound. The business rule is that the sound has to be on the business owner's computer in order to hear the alert, and the assumption is that the sound will always be on so you can hear that alert. The post condition here is that the business owners will have that form and they can make the appointment. The open issue is, what if too many comes at once? How will that situation get handled? Okay, so the architecture of this plan is, you have your user interface, which consists of the appointment form, the customer records, the invoices, the work orders, and the calendar. Those are your physical items. And then your web browser interface has your home page, appointments page, and contact us page. And that's what you'll see at the top of the website. It will be those tabs. So let's take a look at those browser interfaces. So here's your home page. At the top of each page will be the business logo and the business name. Then you can have your three tabs. You can see we're at the home page right now. In the middle of the page in the top center will be the business name and logo. And then under that will be the address. Top right is going to have the hours. Under the hours will be an image of the business, and underneath that will be a paragraph on the story of this business, how it came to be. On the left side of the page, under the tab next to the address, will be a welcome paragraph, welcoming everybody to the page. And then under that will be another image of the business. So here's the appointment form that we've been discussing, and the whole page is just the form. And the first and last name, the make, model, year of the car, and the year of the car will be a little drop-down menu for you to scroll through. You're going to have a box to type in what is the issue with your car, why you're going to be bringing it in. And there'll be a box under that for the customer to list what days, times work best for them, and then a phone number to be contacted with, and then, of course, the submit button. And our final page is to contact us. And again, you'll have the business name and logo in the center, and under that will be the address, much like the home page. To the left will be the phone number and the email for the business, and to the right of the address will be the customer reviews section, and it'll be a little scroll box. You can scroll through the reviews. And on the bottom half of the page will be a map with directions. So then we have the two flow charts. You have one for the calendar, which is the customer brings car to the shop, and the technician evaluates the car. The technician gives the evaluation to the business owner. The question becomes, can the car be fixed today? If it can, it will get added to the calendar for that day, and the technician will be informed, and then the car gets fixed. If it can't, then the calendar will be looked at for the rest of the week, and an open spot will be found, and the job will be added, and then the car gets fixed. And finally, the flow chart for the appointment form is the customer goes to the website, and the first question they encounter is, does the customer want to schedule an appointment? If they don't, if they're just checking out the business, then they'll just continue to explore the website. If they do, then they will open the appointments form tab. They will fill out the form, and then comes the next question: did the customer fill out the form correctly? If they did, everything's filled in properly, they'll click submit, the form will submit, done. If they didn't, they'll be notified and they need to fix what the form, fix what they didn't fill in, then they're able to submit it. Thank you for your time. That was my presentation. I appreciate it.